To play another player here against Flash. Who will they choose? It is going to be Rogue.
Oh, man. All right, not a bad choice at all. Rogue's certainly a player that can get the points, get the kills.
He did not play yesterday as well, interestingly enough. He was set and ready to go for game number 6, but Janair was able to win 4-1. So he does come out here on Iron Fortress against Flash. I think he's definitely a great pick to go up against Flash. I think he should be able to take this one win against Flash, and then as you said, Moonlady's a decent multi-killer as well.
Flash, can he do this? He has momentum. His 1.5 average kills in all kill format. So consistently, he always gets at least 1 point, but half the time he gets 2. We'll see if he can do that again here. I have to favor Rogue, though, going into this game, too. I like his style in the ZVT matchup. And Flash has been focusing on mostly TVT and TVP in recent times.
Yeah, and not to mention Flash will be most likely going mech, which is something that Rogue is specialized against.
It's actually a great point. Taking a look here, Flash 2-5 in recent times versus Zerg. Rogue is 5-2, it looks like there. Rogue not as consistent as Flash has been in terms of this all-kill format and getting multiple kills. But maybe tonight is his night, you know?
Certainly could be. You guys think Flash is going to mech on this map versus such a good anti-mech player?
Yeah, man, for sure. I bet on it.
Well, let's see how it's going to go down here. Game number 2 on Iron Fortress starting right now. Down here on the bottom left, in the red, the Terran player from KT, already getting 1 kill. It is Flash.
And to the bottom right, in green, our Zerg player, Rogue. Janair's second player to be sent out today. Janair brought me here. Janair, fly me to victory.
That's awesome.
Umar Go, $$O$.
All right.
Well, $heart, should be his name from now on.
I like that name a lot more.
Well, I think this is a really intelligent pick from Generic Green Wings to send Rogue out for multiple reasons. Good for the map, for the matchup. Flash not looking as strong in TVZ these days. Has been meching, however, whereas Rogue is a great anti-mech player, one of the best in the world. Everyone is kind of looking to him, Korean commentators, Korean players saying, you know, hey, this guy really knows how to handle meching Terran. So if you just look at the choice here, you know, textbook-wise, like looking at all the information, it's a really smart one.
Also, I mean, the map is not that good for mech. If Flash is forced into it, Rogue, who's already good against mech, is going to have a super easy time. And, you know, if he does want to do it, as you guys said before, he can also make quick work of Flash.
Now, I wonder what we're going to see from Rogue this time in terms of how to deal with it. We've seen some interesting styles from him before. I'd love to see him bust out the Swarm Hosts, or maybe just like the Mass Viper style that we did get to see him do on Terraform not too long ago. That was very exciting, but he's always got his own ideas about that matchup.
Something else to keep in mind, too, you know, going into Game 3, it's going to be Coda, not a bad Zerg map, but if they want to send, for example, TY to deal with Rogue later on, they have to consider where they want to send him, how they want to do that. And if it's not going to be TY, you know, who is it going to be? Should we see stats, maybe? Ooh, nice scout.
Yes, scouts it, does not show it. It's such an important thing, as the Terran's going to be scouting so much later.
Goes ahead and places a pool here. I'm going to go into gas right away. He doesn't see the gas, though, and he's about to find out, though, with this Overlord, this smart scout, because he knows that there's nothing that can kill him after this CC first, so he can actually check the barracks timing and know if it's a gas or not, so he will find out in just a second. Really intelligent movement here by Rogue.
Yeah, also going to get that Overlord in a great place for a scout a little bit later on, just to confirm exactly what kind of play is going to come out. It's also always one of the hardest things. This is just a fantastic, you know, piece of luck here, even from Rogue to get the scout first with his Overlord.
That's a great start. It's really the ideal start you'll ever want as a Zerg player on a 4-player map. Finding that Overlord scout, seeing the building you need to see, and then getting it into place so you can go, you know, safely around 6-7 minute mark, find out the actual tech of the Terran.
Well, with this fast gas, obviously Rogue will be able to prepare for this, but Flash is going to be going into quick factory tech. Going to be a much more delayed third CC this time. And Flash doesn't know, because the Overlord was so carefully placed, Flash doesn't know that Rogue knows what he's doing. So he's going to just continue the build as normal. In fact, he hasn't scouted himself at all.
What Flash is doing, though, is a very aggressive style. He's going to get Hellions out very quickly onto the map, so he does take map control and even risks, or can take a risk of just doing a Hellion run-by and really getting ahead in economy. Some serious drone damage this early on, because settling speed's still a while away.
Yeah, Iron Fortress, a pretty big map at that. Generally, if you're going to go for very fast Hellions as well, not scouting too early on is not too detrimental to yourself, especially when it's Flash, who's always going to play greedy. So kind of all making sense here from Flash, what we are seeing.
Yeah, just the observer showing us again that he doesn't know that Rogue knows, nor does he know where Rogue is spawned. So this very quick Hellion aggression, like fast as possible Hellion aggression with the CC first that he chose, he might send it to the totally wrong side of the map because he just simply doesn't know. It's a bad place to be.
But look at this. We're seeing a very quick third hatchery from Rogue. So it means he's going to everything's going to be a lot more delayed. His tech, his upgrades. He's only going to have speedlings for a while. So if Flash was to go for any sort of Hellbat timing as we see that armory go down, it could be pretty perfect sort of decision-making here.
Yeah, Rogue is going to throw down a Ro.1 at the same time. It's going to start making this wall here and offer him a bit of safety against any kind of build like this. I'm sure he does know that this type of build is an option for Flash, and that Flash has shown it before. So I would expect Rogue from here not to drone up too heavily and just be a bit safe against this.
I do like the fact that we are seeing that Roach Warren out nice and early. Instead of a Baneling Nest or anything like that, he's going to have a pretty decent counter to it if he can get them out in time and in position.
I don't think this is going to necessarily be an all-in from Flash. I think he's going to transition. He has no Marines to push with this. He's only going to have 2 Medivacs and a few Hellbats. He will have Cloak, so the follow-up there is strong. But I think he's probably going to add a third CC behind this. He's also continuing SCV production. And Hellbats are ready. He's got 4 of them dropping right in the main.
Well, Lings are ready as well, so they're not going to really have much luck dropping and trying to morph in time. And I certainly agree with you. I don't think it's an all-in by any means. He can transition into that mech style pretty easily, but he can also look for some serious damage here.
Yep. Rogue doing a fantastic job so far of pushing this away, though. He was right on top of it. He's got all of his Overlords in position now, patrolling his Lings in the main. Flash is going to try to go for this, but an immediate surround, and that's never going to work out.
Yeah, because they're in Hellion mode, he can't even try to go for a small little nook drop in between the mineral lines. Because he's going to have to transform before he can get that heal off. An all-around great position here for Rogue. He doesn't have as many workers as he'd like, but he can catch up pretty soon. His lair's halfway done, and he just played it safe, and he basically catches everything that Flash throws at him. And Flash is only just now adding a very late third CC, hoping to find some damage with these Cloak Banshees.
Yeah, looks like he's going to press the issue probably at this third base, considering the amount of Hellions he has right now. And with these Banshees, it's going to help out a lot against the Queens and the Roaches.
And there is no detection, only a Spore Crawler's being thrown down right now, but that's very late, considering that the Banshee is already right on top of these drones.
Yeah, look at this, already even catching these drones that just spawned. And he needs that Overseer over here. The lair is done. Where is the Overseer? Okay, he's making it very late, and the second Banshee is going to arrive pretty soon, too. Keep in mind, now going for the Queens. Or actually, not going for a drone that was under a Queen. I was wondering about that. But finding 6 kills already here, and more to come.
Yeah, not too bad. The main every base has a spawn now, though, so it should be able to get shut down without too much more damage.
Finally, those Overseers coming in a bit late due to that lair being so late with the third base. He should be pretty safe against this Banshee in the main at the same time. We do see a mech transition back at the base of Flash is also going for the +1. Tons of Hellions also out on the map.
I think he's hoping he's going to draw these units away with the Hellbats this time. And then he's going to go for the Harass in the main base meanwhile. So many Hellions now, 14 on the map, just outside of range of that Spore Crawler.
Oh, they are morphing into Hellbats now, so I'm going to be looking for the attack here. How many Roaches do we have in place, though? Currently 5 Roaches.
3 Queens.
And I guess that's all that needs to be shown for him to turn back. They can be kited pretty easily.
Oh, man.
Supply depots are down. It's not a huge amount of Lings, but looking for some damage here. Unfortunately, does not get a single kill.
Well, 15 more Roaches on the way as well, so either just defending with these this amount or planning to go for a bit of an attack here. Wouldn't be a bad decision considering there's no tanks right now, only Banshees to help out these Hellions.
Well, if Flash takes his third base for sure, it's going to be pretty hard for him to actually hold on to that location. I think breaking the natural is a pretty big dream for Rogue because It's a pretty big aspiration, I should say, because he's going to have several Banshees out. He's now making Siege Tanks, so we'll have 2 by the time this hits. He's got so many Hellbats to buffer as well, and even hitting this third base is just... It's a bit tough to make work. The Hellbats just continue to kite back while the Banshees do damage. The Hellbats are going to do so much extra splash. Now he's even got Thors in the mix, and they all have +1.
Yeah, it's trading them down there, really whittling the numbers down of the Hellbats, just pushing the issue a little bit while he goes into that Infestus attack, and probably going to Lair from here, Hive. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Viper timing to follow this up.
Yeah, we've seen it work wonders on this map, especially it is very, very hard to get a good tank spread and defend all your bases. If they're over-defending their third, you can try to break into the natural with a couple of really nice blinding clouds, and the same can be said if they're defending that natural. You go for the third.
This fourth base comes up at a fairly late time for Rogue. Getting a macro hatch as well, but already Flash is going to have +2 for his mech army. He's ahead in supply. Rogue does have a decent gas bank, which is part of the reason. And he's probably just saving for those Vipers, getting Hydralisk range, getting all the tech pieces. But I do like Flash's position quite a lot, especially because of their positions on the map, because he can defend and counterattack easily.
I think Flash probably looking for a timing at some point. Judging by the army he's making, a lot of Thors on the way with Banshees. It's generally that kind of army, that mobile army you want to go for a march onto the Zerg at some point soon.
Yeah, we saw this out of Maru as well when he did go up against Rogue in their series. He even did it on Terraform where he didn't necessarily have to go aggressively. It did some decent damage before. I like this map a bit better for it, though.
Yeah, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? You can study his opponent here, Maru, to prepare for his teammate in this sort of matchup. Notice as well that Flash walls off his third base completely on all sides. Another one of those indications that he might be moving out away from this base with a push like this, which we do see now with the SCVs coming across. Oh, he needs to put it up tight. There he goes.
He does, just. Yeah, he's looking like he's nearly maxed out, so he's looking for that timing. Viper's finally on the way for Rogue. He's just about getting his army together and enough energy on these Vipers for either Abducts or some really important blinding clouds.
Yep, the creep has been spread pretty far out. Rogue is going to try to go for the attack here, but no Vipers, and he's just going heads up here, not even maxed out at this point. I guess just trying to trade out before those tanks can really get sieged here.
Yeah, forcing out the siege before he gets to his base is a pretty important way, a pretty fantastic way to delay a sort of mech timing.
Yep. Now, Flash doesn't have the Blue Flame Hellion upgrade just yet. Most of the Hellions are already faded away before they can actually get on top of those Hydras.
And then look at this. He forces another siege up, and the second he unsieges, Rogue moves in, and then he moves back out once the siege happens again.
He needs these Vipers, though. This is still a strong push coming across the map, even when the tanks are in tank mode. Now sieging up at the back. The repairs are solid on these Thors. And this is a good position here for Flash. Where are the Blinding Clouds? Where they are.
Blinding Clouds finally come down, but there's not that much left over here for Rogue on the ground. He is remaxing currently into a bunch more Roaches and Hydras, but Flash is definitely getting some damage done here.
He might have enough now, though. Only tanks left over, nothing to really buffer for them if he can find the damage. But so many Roaches going down.
Yeah, also those Banshees are not dealt with in the air. They're the big damage dealers in this fight, the long-lasting ones. And he is going to continue to push because he has to. Turning around at this point isn't really an option because if he get caught, he's actually going to get a good siege up position on the low ground here with one of his tanks, keeping the rest of the tanks in tank mode.
Blinding Cloud, they're going to stop them in their tracks. More and more Roaches coming out. Is there going to be enough to push us back?
He just needs to deal with the Banshees, and he's not. He's not able to kill them. They've got so much damage output, with +2, and now he's actually on top of these bases. The supplies are even, and Flash is continuing to rally. These are the good positions, like I said, for these types of pushes.
And Rogue is never able to group up here. His entire army is just so separated, and they're just going down one by one as the units come through.
Well, I think that just might be it. Just simply too much damage happening at this point, and more units streaming across the map for Flash. He's got a great place here. He hasn't done the economic damage yet, but he's looking to do it in moments.
A couple more Roaches do come in and die instantly.
The Vipers were just seconds too late in that first fight, and that's where Flash got enough momentum. The Banshees all stayed alive as the Hydras all fell. 20 kills on one Thor. The repairs were solid as well, and this is just going to be too much here. Flash will get a second kill going into this second series here in day 2.
It's a pretty important kill too. Rogue, such a dangerous player, such a dangerous sniper. For him to go out in a game like this is kind of absurd.
Yeah.
This was Rogue's game to win. I think we all agreed that he was the favorite here, and he is going to go down to a very nicely prepared build out of Flash, bringing some more SCVs across the map to do some more repair. to these mech units that are pretty low.
It's just like if you look at the greater picture of this matchup and the choice from the Jin coach, it all makes sense. It all lines up. It's just the play that we saw from Rogue today was just it just needed a little bit more refinement. He made way too many roaches that didn't find damage, which delayed his Viper tech, which meant his blinding clouds were literally like 10 seconds too late to change that first fight.
He shouldn't have taken that big fight with that blinding cloud. That's pretty much the bottom line. He'd take too many tank hits that he didn't have to. And his army was just too small. It was too close to his base, so he couldn't really survive from a rematch.
I suppose just a bit of overconfidence from Rogue. I mean, if he was able to hold that attack, he would have almost definitely won the game.
Absolutely. But would have, could have, should have, now no longer important here as those Banshees start to do more and more damage. The Thors as well, big story on those repairs, keeping those Thors alive up to 20, 25 kills on some of them. And the Hellbats did adequate tanking. And Rogue just can't even accept it. Look at the camera.
Yeah, he's having a hard time. He cannot believe he went down to Flash in this matchup. He's done so much fantastic work in the past.
GG. That's going to be it. Flash is going to take 2 wins in a row here and put Jin Air on the huge back foot in this series.
Yeah, I like Moonlight said, I want to echo the sentiment of Rogue is such a dangerous player, such a dangerous sniper, the perfect pick to deal with a Magnum player. And now Flash has 2 wins under his belt. And the next question is, do they really want to send SOS out here? And Flash has already won that first game in the matchup, Terran vs. Pross. He looked strong yesterday. Most would argue he should have won against Trap yesterday as well. You don't really want to send Maru out in the TBT, I don't think, this early, because then he gets... there's a snipe potential, on Terraform against him.
Yeah, but I mean, there's 2 lives left. The next map is Coda, and after that, it's Terraform. I think they're running out of options at this point. I don't think they can wait another game to send out Maru. I think he has to come out now, and they got to save SOS in the pocket for that final game if they need it.
Yeah, I mean, the maps that are coming up a bit later in this series, I feel like SOS will have a much easier time on them. Bonnie Research Station and Echo. Cactus Valley is kind of, I mean, he can survive on that one. He can maybe do some kind of Oracle build if he's up against a Terran. He's used that before to his success, but I definitely do think that Maru may be the only option here, just given the maps.
Yeah, looking at the maps a little bit closer, I have to agree with you guys. I think he's a more solid choice than SOS at this moment in time, but it just makes him so insanely vulnerable. If they pick him, I guarantee you there are at least 2 players on KT waiting to fight him specifically on each and every map that is available.
Yeah, he's in a lot of danger right now. This is a bad place for Jin Air to be. And, well, let's see if Maru can do it. Even against Flash, he might have a hard time. Flash's mech is getting better and better.
He also just prepared for a Terran versus Terran group in GSL Kodas. Now, he didn't make it out, but he showed really great games against Gumiho and Innovation.
I would actually argue that he was meant to get out of that group, losing that last one on just one slight, second lack of decision-making, I guess I could say.